Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Let's try that again. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Good to see you all. Hope everybody had a wonderful week. Thank God that for roofs. That's why we're nice and dry this evening during the Noah-like flood that we are encountering. But want to wish a mazel tov to the Kaplowitz family as they celebrate Charlie becoming a bar mitzvah tomorrow, and they're here with us in our sanctuary. I want to welcome all of our congregation who are with us on Zoom. We're delighted to be with you in person and virtually and to celebrate Shabbat together. So in honor of Memorial Day taking place this weekend, Cantor and Kevin will continue our service, begin our service with America the Beautiful. That may be found on page 377 of the prayer book. We're singing verses 1 and 4.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriotry that sees beyond the years, thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
Our service will continue now with the blessing for the Shabbat candles that may be found on pages 2 and 3 of the prayer book. For that honor, I'd like to invite Lisa to come up. Will the congregation please rise?
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us, as their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light. So may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
All right, I'll take the little candle and light the other two. Amen.
Asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen.
Please be seated. Our service continues now on page 4. Vayhi Erev, Vayhi Voker, Yom HaShishi, and there was evening, and there was morning, the 6th day.
Vayachulu hashamayim ve'haaretz v'chosiva'am. Vayachulu hashamayim ve'haaretz v'chosiva'am. Vayechol Elohim b'yom hashvi'i l'achto asher asa. Vayishbot b'yom hashvi'i Mikol l'achto asher asa. Vayachulu hashamayim ve'haaretz v'chosiva'am. Vayachulu hashamayim ve'haaretz v'chosiva'am. Vayvarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i vayikadesh oto. Ki vot Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Vayachulu hashamayim ve'haaretz v'chosiva'am. Vayachulu hashamayim ve'haaretz v'chosiva'am.
Please rise as we continue with the Kiddush prayer.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotov v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kadsho v'ava uvratzon hinchilanu, zikaron l'maseh v'reshit. Ki hu yom tefilo l'mikra kodesh, zecher l'tziot mitzrayim. Ki vanu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol omim. V'shabbat kodshecha be'ava uvratzon hinchatanu. Baruch atah Adonai mikadesh hashabbat. Amen.
L'chaim. Please be seated. Now I'd like to invite Andy up to the center podium. He'll be reading on page 6.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity. May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
You know, it's a real pleasure to have our B'nai Mitzvah families participate again. You know, everything that we can do, it's really very nice. Thank you, Andy, very much. We continue on page 20 of the prayer book with Lecha Dodi. When we arrive at the 9th and final verse, Boi V'Shalom, I'll invite you to rise and face the doorway as we greet the Shabbat bride.
Dodi lekrat kala, le Shabbat nikabela. Dodi lekrat kala, le Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zechor b'dibor echad, Yishmi'anu elam yuchad, Adonai echad u'shemo echad. L'shem u'tiferet v'lithilah, L'chadodi l'krat kala, L'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi l'krat kala, L'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'krat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki mikor ha-beracha, Merosh mekedem nisucha, Sof ma'aseh b'makshava tchila, L'chadodi l'krat kala, L'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi l'krat kala, L'nei Shabbat nikabela. Itoravi, kiva orechu mi ori shidaberi, kivod Adonai alayich nigla. L'chadodi l'krat kala, L'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi l'krat kala, L'nei Shabbat nikabela. Boi v'shalom ateret balo, Gam b'simcha u'tzala, Toch emunei am segulo. Boi chala, L'chadodi l'krat kala, L'nei Shabbat nikabela. L'chadodi l'krat kala, L'nei Shabbat nikabela.
Enter in peace, O crown of your husband. Enter in gladness. Enter in joy. Come to the people that keeps its faith. Enter, O bride. Enter, O bride. Please be seated. Our service continues now on page 26 with the Chatzi Kaddish.
Yitgadar, Shemei Rabbah, Yalimad Yifrach Elotei, Yamlich Chachutei, B'chayechon, U'vyamechon, U'chayedecho Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala, U'bizman Karif, V'yimeru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mivorach, Le'olam u'le'al me'almaya, Yibarach, Yibarach, Yishabach, V'yita'av Yitraman V'yitnaseh, V'yitador, V'yitaleh, Shemei Dikudishah. La'ela mikol birchata v'shirata, tushmechata v'nechemata, damiran mi'alema, v'imeru. Amen.
I'd like to invite Justin now to come offer the reading on page 27.
Teach me, O God, a blessing, a prayer, on the mystery of a withered leaf, on ripened fruit so fair. on the freedom to see, on the freedom to sense, to breathe, to know, to hope, to despair. Teach my lips a blessing, a hymn of praise, as each morning and night you renew your days. Lest my day be today, as the one before, lest routine set my ways.
Thank you, Justin, for that enthusiastic reading. We enjoyed that. All right, our service will continue now on page 28 with the Baruch Hu, the call to worship. Please rise.
La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch et Adonai hamivorach Baruch Adonai hamivorach le'olam moed hamivorach le'olam moed.
Please be seated. Our service continues now on page 30 with the Ma'ariv Aravim prayer. We'll read together in the Hebrew. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim behochma poteach she'arim uvitvuna mishane itim umachalif et hazmanim umsader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono borei yom v'layla golel or mipnei choshech vechoshech mipnei or uma'avir yom umevi laila umavdil bein yom uvein laila Adonai tzvaot shemo el chai v'kayam tamid yimloch alenu leolam va'ed baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Let us read together on page 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people, Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. We turn to pages 34 and 35 as we rise and offer the Shema together.
Shem kivod malchuto leolam va'ed.
Please be seated. Charlie will come up now on page 36 and chant V'Havta. Right on it.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשקפך ובקומך, וקשרתם להיות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיהם.
You can read the English too, Charlie. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
You shall love Adonai your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your might. Take to heart these instructions with which I charge you this day. Impress them upon your children. Recite them when you stay at home and when you are away, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them serve as a symbol on your forehead. Inscribe them on the doorpost of your house and on your gates. Thus shall you remember to observe all my commandments and be holy to your God. I'm Adonai your God, who brought you out of the land to Egypt to be your God. I'm Adonai your God.
Adonai Elohechem Emet. Thank you, Charlie. Our service is going to continue now on page 40 with Mi Chamocha.
Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor ba'kodesh, nora tehivot, osefele. Malechutecha la'ovatecha, v'ke'ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, se'eni anu de'amnu Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed.
I'll be reading now on page 43. Actually, let's read together at the top of the page. Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with good companions, to live with hope in our hearts and eternity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up waiting to do your will. Baruch atah Adonai, hapores sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. Our service continues now on page 44 with Vishamru.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. תשמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. בני ובן בני ישראל, בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמעו בני ישראל את השבת, Shabbat לדורותם ברית עולם.
Our service continues now on page 46 with the tefillah. Please rise.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi agi tehillatech. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol HaGibor B'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevii Geula Livnei B'neihem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozel U'Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Michayeh HaKol atah Rav L'Hoshia, Morid Hatal. Mechalkel Chaim b'Chesed, Michayeh HaKol b'Rachamim Rabim. Somech noflim v'rofei cholim, umatir asurim, umkayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha ba'givurot, umidom elach, melech memit, umechayeh, umasmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah lehachayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai michayeh hakol. Atah kadosh v'shemcha kadosh, u'kdoshim b'chol yom, yihalelu chasela. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
You are holy, your name is holy, and those who are holy praise you every day. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Please be seated. Our service continues now on page 60 with Shalom-Live, our prayer for peace.
Shalom Rav on Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav on Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Ki atah melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atah melech Adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rav on Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav on Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. V'tov be'enecha nivarech et amcha Yisrael b'chol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav on Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav on Yisrael Amcha, Tasim le'olam. Baruch atah Adonai, Hamboreh את עמו ישראל בשלום.
Our service continues on page 61. Let us read together for the prayer for our country there at the top of the page. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of every land. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Praised are you, Eternal One, who blesses our people with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. We turn now to page 259 in the prayer book. Page 259, I'll be reading the prayer for the state of Israel. Sha'alu shalom Yerushalayim, Yishla'o ohavayich. Pray for the peace of Jerusalem. May those who love you prosper. O Heavenly One, protector and redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. We turn back in the prayer book now to page 253. Page 253, as we prepare to offer the Misha Berach prayer now, we call to mind all those in our lives in need of healing, whether that be a healing of body, of mind, or of spirit. If there's someone in your life in need of a healing prayer, those of you who are in the sanctuary are welcome to rise and share their name with us. Those of you who are with us on Zoom, please type in their name on YouTube. Please type in their name on the YouTube comments. Yes. Misha Berach, Avotenu v'Imotenu, Avraham, Yitzchak v'Yaakov, Sarah, Rivka, Rachel v'Leah, Hu Yivarech et HaCholim. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebekah, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Misha Baruch Avotenu Mikol HaBracha V'Imotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misha Baruch Imotenu Mikol HaBracha V'Avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Take a few minutes now for our own silent prayers and reflections.
O say shalom, shalom, bimramav. O yaseh shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. Yaseh shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Amen. Amen. Oseh shalom, shalom, bimramav. Yaseh shalom aleinu, v'yakol Yisrael v'yimru Amen. V'yakol Yisrael v'yimru Amen.
Thank you, Cantor and Kevin. Sir, we will continue now with our Torah service and our Torah reading for this Shabbat. We begin on page 244 and Ein Kamocha, page 244.
Ein kamocha Elohim Adonai, tהיה כמעשיך, מלכותך מלכות כל עולמים, וממשלתך בכל דור ודור. אדוני מלך, אדוני מלך, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום.
Please rise as we open the ark.
הרחמים, היטיבה ברצונך את ציון. תבנה חומות ירושלים
on page 246, Ki Mitzion.
Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, Ki mitzion tetzei Torah, lo devar Adonai Yerushalayim, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Baruch shenatan Torah, Torah, Le'amo Yisrael, B'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo, Gadol Adonai iti, Rama Shemo Yachdav, Lecha Adonai Hagedol, Hagevora, Hatiferet, Hanetzach V'Hod. Kichol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Kichol b'shamayim u'va'aretz, Lecha Adonai ha'mamlacha, Yamit ra'aseh lechol elosh.
Please be seated. Excuse me. It's a very short commute for me with the Torah scroll from the ark here to the podium. Anyway, all right. In this week's Torah portion, Beha'alotecha, the Israelites are wandering in the desert from the book of Numbers. Some of the Israelites, the Torah actually refers to them as riffraff, begin to complain about the manna that God provided. They felt a gluttonous craving and they wept and they said, if only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish that we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. There is nothing at all now, nothing but this manna. These are Jews, so of course they're wandering in the desert, and what do they complain about? The food, of course. Jewish commentators are disappointed by this reaction from our ancestors. God freed us from Egypt, provided them with food, and yet they still complained. They even had the gall to say they wanted to return to Egypt and slavery because they ate better back as slaves. Rashi notes the hypocrisy of the Israelites, especially when they said, we remember the fish that we used to eat free in Egypt. Our ancestors, of course, were not free, rather they were enslaved. The Israelites were guilty of believing that anywhere else is better than the present, that the grass is always greener on the other side. Their life in the desert was far from perfect. Yet rather than complain or covet the past or possessions of others, we would benefit if we live with appreciation and gratitude. The book of Numbers is filled with stories of the Israelites complaining. They voice their anger over lack of water and food. In a few weeks, the next story will be when the complaining turns into rebellion, and we read about Korah, who tried to take over the leadership of the people from Moses. It is hard to understand from our perspective why the Israelites were so upset. After all, God had just saved them from slavery, provided them with manna, and was guiding them. Some commentators see the Israelites as acting like children. They were not independent and could not care for themselves. And when they needed something, they complained in the same way that a baby cries when hungry. This was, after all, a slave generation, a group of people who had never had to take care of themselves, whether under the oppressive rule of Pharaoh or the guidance of God. Perhaps this was the ultimate reason why the slave generation could not make it to the promised land. If they could not even live well under God's care in the desert, how could they possibly conquer the promised land and build their own nation? 40 years later, however, a new, strong generation was born. The Israelites were then ready to enter the promised land. So this evening for our Torah reading, it's my pleasure to call on Charlie's parents, Lisa and Andy Kaplowitz, to have the honor of offering the Aliyah this evening.
Ya'amdu la Torah, Leah bat Michael v'tzipa, be'aharon ben Yaakov v'Sara Sudol.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol hamim, v'natan et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, daber el Aharon v'yamarta elav beha'altecha et hanerot el mol pnei hamnorah ya'iru shivat hanerot vayas ken Aharon el mol pnei hamnorah He'ela neroteha ka'asher tziva Adonai et Moshe v'zeh ma'aseh hamnorah miksha zahav al yarecha ad pircha miksha hi kamar asher her'a Adonai et Moshe ken asa et hamnorah Vayedaber Adonai el Moshe lemor, kach et haviim mitoch bnei Yisrael v'tiharta otam.
All right.
Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu et Torah emet, v'hayei olam natan b'tzilkenu. Baruch Atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Thank you very much. Now I will invite you to rise as we give honor to the Torah scroll.
V'zon haTorah she'sa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe. La 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 la
Our service continues now on page 256 as we return the Torah scroll to the Ark with Eitz Chaim.
Eitz Chaim hi lemachasikim bo v'tamecheha me'oshar trafeha darchei noam v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuvo Kadesh Kadesh Yameinu Kadesh Yameinu Tikedem.
Please be seated. Now, it is the fourth Friday of the month. That means it's time for anniversary blessings. Do we have anybody in the congregation celebrating a wedding anniversary in May? Hearing none. Do we have anybody on YouTube celebrating an anniversary in May? If so, please type in your names the date of your wedding and how long you've been married if you would like. I'm going to offer the anniversary blessings now for May. Ani l'dodi v'dodi li. I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine, from the Song of Songs. O God, eternal source of blessing, we turn to you in gratitude for the strength and devotion that has preserved and sustained these couples and permitted them to reach this day. Many and varied have been their experiences since the day of their wedding. Many have been the mingled occasions of victory and defeat, of fulfillment and disappointment. In joys and trials alike, they have supported one another. May God shelter you by day, give you rest at night, and send good companions to go with you on the way. May this hour offer a happy Amen to the hopes and prayers of your wedding day and to the joyous years to come. Amen. Seeing no comments on YouTube, we're going to sing to all the anniversaries in the world, therefore. So Cantor and Kevin, let's do it. Shechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, shehecheyanu v'kimanu v'higianu l'zman hazeh.
It's now my pleasure to invite up our temple president, Alan Plumser, to share announcements and greetings.
Shabbat Shalom. Welcome. I hope everyone at home is as warm and dry as we are here. It's an incredible start to the unofficial start of the summer. So thank you, Rabbi, for leading us in prayer tonight, and Cantor for leading us in song and prayer, as always. And Kevin, of course, thank you for the musical accompaniment. Mazel tov to the entire Kaplowitz family, Lisa, Andrew, Justin, and congratulations to Charlie on his bar mitzvah tomorrow. It's great. It will be great celebrating B'nai Mitzvah every week over the next few weeks. This is an incredible reopening of the temple. It's very exciting. Upcoming services, of course, tomorrow morning, Charlie's bar mitzvah. Next Friday, June 4th, 6:30 p.m., we have our outdoor hybrid Tat Shabbat. It'll be live and in person at the same time as being broadcast on Zoom. And at 8 p.m. that night, join us for our hybrid Shabbat service, starting as always at 8 p.m. Saturday, June 5th, 10:30 a.m., hybrid and in person, as well as Zoom Shabbat Minyan service. Mark these down. Save the date as well for June 18th. 7 p.m. is our Shabbat under the stars. That's always very popular, and it's going to be even better this year. Please review your weekly bulletins for all upcoming events. Sisterhood is meeting on June 3rd at 8 p.m. via Zoom only. I'd like to announce that we'll be having a men's club organizing event to plan out some of the great summer and fall activities. If you have not attended one of our get-togethers prior to the pandemic, you've missed some good times. So if you would like to participate, watch the bulletin, but also please send me your email address, and you'll definitely receive our announcements. Pay attention to the bulletin as well. Lillian is working hard on fundraising, and she's arranged for almost weekly fundraising events, Dine to Donate. And she certainly needs all the volunteers that we can muster. So wishing everybody a wonderful week ahead. Once again, Mazel Tov, and stay safe and be healthy.
Thank you very much, Alan. Just one note, the 18th of June, our Shabbat Under the Stars. Unfortunately, we're not eating for safety this year like we normally would, but we will be together at 7 o'clock in the backyard and, of course, on Zoom. I believe we're doing Zoom for that one. All right, friends. So let us continue now with the Aleinu prayer, page 282. Please rise as we open the Ark.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tegid l'yotzeh breshit, shelo asanu kigoyeh haratzot, velo somanu kimishpichot ha'adama, shelo som chalkenu kahem, vigor aleinu kichol hamonam. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Please be seated.
שהוא נותן שמיים ויוסר ארץ ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינתו זו מגוון מרומים הוא אלוהינו אינות אמת מלכנו נפש זולתו כתוב בתורתו וידעתו יום והשיבותה ולבבך כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל ויארץ מתחת עינות ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
We turn now in the prayer book to page 294. As we prepare to recite the Kaddish prayer, our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. On this Shabbat, we recall for Kaddish Stanley Gleit, father of Sherry Nissenson, and we remember for Yartzeit Jacob Abramowitz, Martin Aronow, Elaine Blackman, Anna Bodenstein, Minna Rose Davis, Manny Fleischman, Martha Friedman, Theodore Cohn, Ethel Kaur, Jean Kutcher, Irving Levine, Alan Parker, Winona Rosenthal, Fanny Saltz, Joyce Schwartz, Lou Siegel, Arlene Silverman, Andrew Zabel, Louis Allerhand, Bertha Bluefield, Dorothy Factor, Erwin Fishman, Norman Glicken, David Goldstein, Hilda Heller, Irving Abraham Hermelin, Isidore Ted Horowitz, Alexander Jaworski, Jacob Lolicht, Mary Merkin, Robert Pincus, Rachel Richling, and Leonid Stanek. Please rise now as we recall our loved ones and we join in reciting the Kaddish prayer. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. V'alma divrach hirute v'amlich malchute. B'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach leolam ulamei amaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shemei dekudisha b'rechu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. O say shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen.
O say shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen.
Thank you, Cantor and Kevin, for our beautiful music this evening. We are going to conclude our service now with God Bless America in honor of the United States, page 376, followed by the Bore Motzi.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei pari hagafen. Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Shabbat Shalom.